There's no arguing that people love their cars.
We weren't arguing.
They talk about their cars, sing about their cars. Some people even look like their car. Whether it's an old car, new old car, fast car, family car, electric car, race car, two-wheel car, no-wheel car, or a car you know's parked around here somewhere. People who love their cars love to tinker with them. Some people tinker big, some people tinker small, some people tinker some degree between those two variables.
Whose voice is that?
And that's where Supercheap Auto comes in. We've been helping people tinker for 50 years. For people like Bill, Lucy, Kevin, other Kevin.
Oi, get off my car!
Didn't catch this guy's name.
It's Kevin.
Not Patrick. He doesn't shop with us. Whoever you are, whatever you drive, we'll help you make it super. Because super is our middle name. Well, technically it's our first.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to round 2 of season 10 of the Supercheap Auto East Coast V8 series. I'm John Van Ree, coming to you tonight from the one and only Laguna Seca Raceway, otherwise known as WeatherTech, here in Central California on the coast, just outside the beautiful city of Monterey. For those who put it in perspective, it's just off Route 1. And the start of the Big Sur section of that, and literally just a stone's throw or 20-minute drive over to Pebble Beach from here as well. So quite a great little location. Let's have a look at the track. And as you can see, it starts going down through the sweeping turn 1, down into the Andretti Hairpin. Always some very interesting action in that part of the track. Then we sweep up through turn 3, sweep through 4, and then turn 5, we sweep up the hill through the fast-flowing turn 6, where we run up the Rahal straight, up the hill to the infamous Cork Screw, where the cars drop 18 metres in elevation through turns 8 and 8A. We then sweep down through the Rainey curve, named after the famous motorcycle rider who lives in the area, Wayne Rainey. And then we come back down through turn 10 and into the tight turn 11 to finish the lap off. Usually looking at a reasonable lap time around this place, so we'll see fairly short. And these guys tonight are doing 76 laps, which definitely, as they head out for starter quality, which definitely keeps it very interesting for them. And of course, track conditions for tonight's race basically sees us with 56 laps, as I said. We're racing with a dynamic sky and humidity is 91 to 100%. And they've got 1 fast repair, unlimited fuel, and 2 compulsory pit stops required for this one. Quick look at the points since the season is underway. We can recap after what's happened with race control and everything else. So the leader of the overall is James Scott, Dylan Rudd, Jordan Ross, Briggsy, Gambo, Scotty McNamara, Jacob O'Reilly in 7th, Robert Gibbs in 8th, Luke Mitchison 9th, and Damien Johnstone rounds out the top 10. If we have a look at the Pro Boys, that should be self-explanatory. Scott, Rudd, Ross, Briggs, Gamble, McNamara, O'Reilly, Gibbs leading that one. Super 2s is quite exciting at the moment. Jamie McKnight, the People's Champion, on top of the board there. Leading out, Timmy Mulford, Greg Sharp, Troy Stonestreet from WK&P, with Chris Blanchard from WK&P as well, Stephen Lawrence, John Fillingham from Veteran Gaming Australia in 7th, Russell Gander, the Privateer, in 8th, and Matt Shanahan from Veteran Gaming Australia rounding out 9th, and Steve Tonkin from JWM Simsport rounds out the podium, 10 spots there. Then the vets guys, of course, Gamble, McNamara, McKnight, Sharp, Stonestreet, Blanchard, Fillingham, Gander, Reg James, and Brian Minogue round out the top 10 in that list. As these boys have started their hot lap, a bit loose there from Scotty Van Loon. The Rattler getting a bit out of shape already. As we might just jump on with the man who was setting the fastest time leading into practice, Scotty Gamble from 95 Sim Sports. Hey, Scotty down through the famous Cork Screw, of course. And he looks like he's got that car fairly well stable and balanced. See what sort of time he can set. Hobson, we might jump on Hobson actually. Hobson is a bit further back. He's setting purple sectors all over the place as he's about to come across the line. Looks like a great lap from Hobbo. Of course, former champion of the Supercheap Auto Pro Series. Sorry, Supercar. Start again. Supercheap Auto East Coast Series. Also one of the Pro Series drivers as well. So Hobbo goes fastest with a 1:22.48. No James Scott tonight. So it definitely opens up the corridor for a lot of guys to definitely have a bit of a crack at what's going on here. So definitely looking good so far. Here's Gambo. Second is Gamble, of course. Visma, the Goldfish himself, puts himself in P3. He'd be pretty happy with that. And Damien Johnstone shuffles himself into fourth. Ty Delaney, the minnow from Fishy Motorsports, in fifth. Great little effort there from Ty. And definitely on an in-lap here. Greg Sharp gets himself up in the fifth, jumping Ty Delaney. Great result from Sharpie. He is definitely driving well at the moment. So these boys will be ducking back to pits to get ready for their next run. Of course, only a 15-minute qualifying session here tonight. Jamie McKnight out on track. He is setting some reasonable times as well. He's got himself in there with a 1:24.77. I suppose put those sort of lap times in comparison. The unofficial lap time done by Ferrari with Mark Cheney's a 1:05, but these guys aren't driving Ferraris. They put it into something a bit more comparison-wise. You know, they're up there with the lap times from the GTE Indy Pro Series, and of course, they're about as quick as a superbike around this place. Definitely some interesting statistics, but still rattling away here. Jamie McKnight doesn't improve his time. Still a few big names to get a time on the board. Stone Street hasn't got one on yet. And keep an eye out on Jacob O'Reilly. He's down on the board as well without a time. Van Leeuwen hasn't got a time. So there's a couple of names there we need to keep an eye out for. Dave Coleman as well. Big shout out to Macca in the chat, watching his 9.5 boys battle on. As looks like Stone Street is off on a lap at the moment. Just going to jump back up, check on Hobson again. He's about to start a lap shortly. And just waiting things to shape up. Of course, Mark Duggan not with me again tonight. Mark is back in the country at 10 p.m. this evening. So definitely be back next week. Got a message sent during the week that he's excited and looking forward to being back on deck next week. So, and we are away. Hobson, what can he do here? Is the question being asked. As heading to turn 3. Hobbo has the car looking very balanced here as he heads up the hill. Very fast flowing corner, this one, hard to get right. Big sausage curb, the red curb there on the inside. Don't get the drive out of the corner to slow run up the hill, and then of course down through the Cork Screw. 18 metre drop. A very famous corner. And that is a bailed lap for Hobbo. Gamble is off with a 122. That's going to put him into P2 still. Doesn't get him in front of Hobson. Visma holding on to that P3 spot. Not improving his time. Keep an eye on Damien Johnstone. He's coming around the corner. A couple of yellow sectors in this one. And he goes across the line and doesn't improve his time. O'Reilly's managed to get himself into fifth. That's a great one. Delaney holding on the six. He's got the legs back up over Sharp. He's going to have a quick look at John Fillingham. He's about to come across the line. He's going to put himself in 19th. Steve Tonkin is the next one. Going to go back. Gamble coming around. They're all yellow sectors. I think he's on his way back in. Matt Shanahan, another one of the veteran gaming boys. Stick with him at the moment. He's got a couple of green sectors in there. Another one of our Super 2 drivers. And he gets himself into P17. Not bad. So it's still Hobbo leading the charge at the moment for Synergy Sim Racing. Looks like he's on an outlap heading up the hill. Not long to go here. We're into our last 5 minutes. So just summing it up, Timmy Mulford still hasn't got a time on the board. They'd be looking to get one set. And Cumberson, he's got himself in. Russell Gann is up in 18th. He's in pit lane at the moment. Will Buchanan, he's on an outlap here as well for Big Bear Racing. As these boys all get themselves organised. Just keeping a bit of an eye on where the group is. Damien Johnstone, he's coming down through Rainy Curve. And he's shooting into pit lane. Hobson about to go on a flying lap here. As we'll jump on the chest cam. Shout out to Travis Hunt as well in the chat. Welcome, Trav. And it looks like Hobbo has bailed out of this one. Not a quick lap for Hobson. Let's see if that opens the door up for Gamble and Visma. Of course, looking like the track might be getting away from these guys a little bit as well. Track temp's only 25 degrees, hasn't gone up too much. But definitely a bit of breeze about this evening. A big shout out to Joshy Barella as well. As Hobson's still leading the charge from Gamble. Visma O'Reilly in fourth, John Stone in fifth. Timmy Mulford's got himself up into sixth. It's a great result for Tim. He's jumped himself right up there in front of Sharp and Delaney. Stefan Lawrence in sixth as well. It's a great effort from Stefan. So definitely some of these Super T boys definitely having a crack tonight. Down into the last minute before the flag comes out. And Hobson here on a purple sector. Just going to find Gamble. Gamble coming across the top. Might just jump on board for a second and hear the noise. So Gamble diving into the pits. Interesting. As we keep continuing on here, look at Stone Street. What can he do? He's into the pits as well. Flag is definitely out on quali by the looks. Everyone rolling back in. Interesting session. And Gamble, top second. Didn't quite get the wood up on Hobson. John Stone in third from Synergy Sim Racing. And then not going into Damien Johnstone, Jamie McKnight. He's got himself in 15th. I don't think he's going to go quicker this time through. And Damien Johnstone, the last man rolling back on track at the moment. So, interesting. We've got top 5 cars are all Pro Series drivers, and the next 5 cars are our Super 2 boys. Zachary Vlasbom back in 11th, Scotty Van Loon in 12th, Dawson 13th. Then, of course, Minogue, McKnight, Tonkin, Buchan, Pellet, Shanahan and Gander round out the top 20, and then we roll through then, of course, to Dave Coleman, John Fillingham, Reg James, Ant Cuthbertson, and, of course, after that we have our race control group. So just waiting for the timer to tick over here, and we will be up and running shortly. Of course, as I said, this track in the arid environment of the California. And looking forward to showing you guys the grid. Let's have a look. So Brenton Hobson on the front row in P1 with a 122.312. Lines up alongside Scotty Gamble. And on the second row, we have Synergy Sim Racing's Damien Johnstone alongside Anthony Visma from Accelerate Sim Racing. Great result for the Viz to be on the second row. Jacob O'Reilly from Vermeulen Motorsports in 5th. He lines up alongside the first of our Super 2 guys, Greg Sharpie getting over the line there at the end. And then Stefan Lawrence sitting in 7th, lines up alongside Phoenix Racing's Tim Mulford. Troy Stone Street back in 9th for WK&P, lines up alongside the Minnow from Fishy Motorsports, Ty Delaney in 10th. On row 6, we have Zachary Vlasblom lining up alongside Cube Ports Racing Scotty Van Loon. And over the page, we have Alan Dawson from Right Sim Racing, our Super 2 champion from last season, lines up alongside Brian Minogue from SLS Racing. Jamie McKnight, the People's Champion from Fishy Motorsports, in 15th, lines up alongside Steve Tonkin from JWME Sim Sports in 16th, and Will Buchanan from Big Bear Racing in 17th. Chris Pellett from Frog Leap Juiced Racing in 18th. Matt Shanahan from Veterans Gaming Australia in 19th lines up alongside Rusty Gander in 20th. Dave Coleman from Fishy in 21st lines up alongside John Fillingham from Veteran Gaming Australia in 22nd. Reg James from WK&P is 23rd. 24th is Ant Cuthbertson from R4R Sim Sports. And we go over the page for the last time. We have, of course, Josh Drage in race control with Matt McMillan as our safety car driver. Need to fix that one up for you. And, of course, in 27th, we have Richard Barella, who is our chief race control. That is the field for this evening. It is shaping up to be a good one, I think, as we get ourselves ready and try and find the cars that should be on the grid, hopefully. Let's try a gamble. There we go. We are on the grid, ready to go. Won't be long till we are gridding in about 30 seconds time. Keep an eye out on this one. It is, like I said, you've got the bending curve of turn 1, which catches a few guys out in the packed environment. And then after that, we then go into the Andretti Hairpin at turn 2, which also catches some guys out. So lap 1 in the first couple of corners around this place can be quite tricky. So just keep an eye out in the field for that. And of course, be interesting. I think it's going to be a great battle between Hobson and Gamble and John Stone. I think he'll be in the mix of that. Keep an eye on Jacob O'Reilly to come through as well. He's been quick the last few weeks. Lights are going on. 1 red, 2, 3, 4, 5. Lights are out. We are racing. Looks like a good jump there from Gamble. Hobson covering that inside line quite well. Coming down in the turn 1, looks quite clear in the back as Hobson, Gamble, John Stone, Visma, O'Reilly, Mulford's up 2 spots, Sharp's down 1, Delaney's up 2. So big loser, Stephen Lawrence there on the start, a bit further back. But all clear so far, which is great to see. So up the hill on the Rohall Straight for the first time as well, heading to the Cork Screw. Someone out wide there, looks like it is going to be John Stone. He's under pressure now from O'Reilly as we drip down through. As good start for lap 1, these boys. They're all pretty chuffed for that. Hobson's going to lead him over the line for the first time. So it's Hobson, Gamble, Visma, Johnstone, Riley, Sharp, Mulford, Delaney, Van Loon and Dawson. Rounding out our top 10. Might go a little bit further back. Jamie McKnight putting a fair bit of pressure on Stone Street in front of him. So the guys pretty much locking it in the single file pretty quick here tonight. And Rusty Gander, a little bit of side-by-side action there as well with Blastbomb. And Fillingham, of course, in the back. As we head up the hill. Very stable. Down through the Cork Screw through the second time. Only 54 more times to go. John Stone all over the back of Visma. Try and keep abreast of where some of the battles are. And Visma under pressure here. John Stone, sorry, with Visma. Visma manages to hang on to that one. It's going to go back a bit further, and we can see McKnight putting a lot of pressure on Stone Street and under a lot of pressure himself from Coleman. Good little battle pack, these three. Very experienced drivers in this group. Stone Street seems to get away in this back half there. Pellet Shanahan side by side through Rainey. And he's going to jump back up with Timmy Mulford. He's right up behind Sharp now. Going to be tight. Great move by John Stone. Hangs on to that. And continuing on down the hill here. A good little battle here, 1 and 2 pulled away from 3. There's a bit of a battle here in the back half of the top 10. Might go a little bit further back. The other battle on track that's been interesting to watch has been the McKnight one. And Jamie putting a lot of pressure on Troy. Troy, experienced driver. Last bomb getting past Minot. Minot going wide by the looks. A little bit of an incident there. And my event viewer not working, so try and fix that up for you in a minute. Jump on with the minnow. Been chased by Scotty Van Loon. He's up 2 spots. It looks like this group here have all settled in fairly well.
Sorry, mate.
A little bit happening around the track. McKnight in a good little battle still. And of course Hobson and Gamble, they have cleared out by 4 seconds, I believe, or 3.4 seconds on Jacob O'Reilly in P3. So continuing on. Go back, have a look at Damien Johnstone. Looks to make a move, going down to the final corner. Sharp gives him a little bit of room, lets him through. Good little battle there, two blokes. Sharp, Mulford, Delaney, Van Loon, all in this group here. Stephen Lawrence at the back for Riot. You can see that group all fairly tightly bunched after 7 laps. So, of course, 56 laps, a bit of an endurance tonight. We'll test these guys out to the nth degree. So, still a long way to go. Knight with a great run out of the Cork Screw. Goes side by side through Rainey. In Stone Street, got on.
Good ride control.
Yeah.
And Coleman now tucked up behind these two. Stone Street going to be held out wide. Might open the door up for Coleman to poke his nose in. No, he doesn't. Of course, this is a battle for 14th, but these guys having a cracking drive. Good driving there as well. Ty Delaney. He is under a lot of pressure from Cube Ports Racing and Van Loon hanging it all out in the dirt. That's going to cost him though. Doing very well tonight. About to talk people up and they go off. And that'll be a slowdown for Van Loon. That'll be costly. Jump back up the front, check Hobson and Gamble. It looks like Gamble's happy to tuck in there. This will all be about fuel saving at the moment. No, he pulls up alongside. Side by side into Andretti. Goes the over under, a bit of a tap. Hobson manages to hang on though. I think Gamble would have redressed there. A great respectful racing we're seeing tonight amongst the group again. Gamble working really hard here. Up on the drone cam. Just in different lines there by the two of them. And Hobson looking a bit more in control after. I'm going to go back to McKnight. It's right up behind Tompkins now. Saw a vintage pass from the People's Champion on Stone Street a lap or two ago. This group very much bunched up. McKnight, Stone Street, Coleman, Buchanan, Blasbom. Definitely some good little battles still around the track. Scotty Van Loo now starting to put pressure back on Stefan Lawrence. And it's going to get back to Stone Street. This battle here really hot now. I might stay with this battle for a minute. Jump on the nose of Zachary Vlasbom here, watching this all unfold in front of him. Vlasbom definitely tucked right up behind Buchanan. Here he comes, goes deep at Andretti. Gets the job done. And it's going to go check on O'Reilly. He's still sitting in third. Visma hanging on to him here. It's already starting to see, I think, some tactics come into play. Looking forward to this one as it starts to play out. It's going to go back to that Vlasbom pack. He's managed to get himself past Dawson now. And we're seeing someone diving off into the pits. That's Dawson. I'm on a bit loose there, or going to the inside of the circuit. Stone Street under a lot of pressure here. Powering up Ray Hall up to the Cork Screw, and everyone will bunch up behind. Coleman might be on the inside here. Doesn't quite get the job done. Good little battle group. Chris Pellett might jump back with him for a minute. He's side by side. Ryan Minogue. And I think we got... No, I thought we might have had someone off. We don't. A great little McKnight in the pit lane. So he's going in fairly early. He's coming back out. So McKnight's been in for his first stop. Dawson's been in for a stop as well. And we still have Hobson, who's about 0.8 out in front of Scott Gamble. O'Reilly in third, Visma fourth, John Stone, Greg Sharp, Tim Mulford. Let's go jump on with Timmy. So Timmy's not too far behind Greg. And these blokes here ticking over really well. 14 of 56 gone. I'll just check on our mate Rusty Gander. So Rusty's sitting in 21st at the moment, yet to make his first stop. He's not too far behind Brian Minogue in front of him. And back a little bit further is Ant Cuthbertson. He's still having a good old crack from Stone Cold Racing. Still circulating. John Fillingham. He is under a lot of pressure from Reg James. So Reg working his way up 4 spots as well at this stage. And go back up. Sharp still under a lot of pressure from Tim Mulford. And back up front, Hobson holding that 8/10 of a lead from Gamble, doing quite a cracking job of it. What we might do is we might jump on forward on the gyro and do a lap with Hobson. Great little board on board with Hobo. Fairly smooth sailing at the moment. So look for another battle on track. Might go to Matt Shanahan. We'll have a look at this one for a little bit. Yeah, I believe that could be the case, Steve Murray. And Matt Shanahan doing reasonably well. John Fillingham tucked up behind him. John, of course, making his Vets debut on Thursday night. Showing some good pace. Reg James, he has caught up to Fillingham as well. And side by side, Gamble making his move. I'd say Hobson's made a little mistake. Campbell off through the Cork Screw. There'd have to be a slowdown for that. Fortunately, my event recording is not working, so I'm not sure exactly what happened in that overtake. Apologies for that tonight. And Gamble now holding the lead quite well. Jump back on with Timmy Mulford. As Damien Johnstone and Scotty Van Loon in pit lane at the moment, having their first stops of the evening. They're getting some good mileage out of the car. Here's everybody else. And Hobson peels off into the pit lane. He blinks early. Gamble stays out for another. Mulford peels in. So I might just go back how Coleman's getting on. Seeing a few others. Visma's gone in and pitted as well. Probably start to see the bulk of the field in the next lap, I would think. Stone Street rolls in as well. And Coleman continues on. We'll just have a look at where Gamble comes out. No, sorry, not Gamble, where Hobson comes out. So he comes out in 8th. Tucking in behind Vlasbom. And makes quick work of that one, goes deep. Vlasbom comes back. The interesting one is O'Reilly's gone in. Gamble goes again. So Gamble obviously saved a fair bit of fuel, tucked up behind Hobson in that early stoush. So Blast Bomb going relatively well, getting passed by McKnight here though. Hobson's getting past as well. Gamble finally peels into pit lane. We're about to see a brand new person lead their first lap at East Coast. No, Lawrence Bale's in. Now comes the $1 million question. Has the undercut worked for Hobson? Let's have a look where Gamble is. He should be rolling. No, Gamble still in pit lane. Hobson, I'll have to have a look at the fuel stop times in a second. Try and calculate what the strategies in play are at the moment. Definitely a big gap there. So the pit time, we throw that up on the screen. We can see Hobson stopped for 10.9, Gamble stopped for 15.1. So a lot more fuel going into that Gamble machine. Just over 4 seconds worth. So we'll see how that plays out. O'Reilly went longer. Damien Johnstone was about the same. Mulford went short fill. Visma went 19.8. That's a big fill for Visma. And Sharp was about 17. Delaney was 18. So definitely a few things happening here and there. Just gonna try one thing. See if this works for me. Just bear with me with the graphics for a minute. It may go a little haywire. That didn't change. That's still not. About a minute and see if that records for me, and it's not. I do apologise for my replay event tracker not working this evening. And we might as well go back to East Coast. As Coleman, Pellet, Gander and James are all in pit lane. Definitely something broken on the server there. As jump back on with Damien Johnstone. Damien sitting in 4th at the moment. He'd be pretty happy with that. As we've broken the graphics altogether now. Anyway, we'll try and keep abreast of where some of these battles are. Visma, he is in close quarter contest here as well. And there we go, we're back. Timmy Mulford doing well. He is leading our Super 2 drivers at the moment. He'd be pretty chuffed with his efforts there as Matt Shanahan peels into the pits. And Visma slowly pulling away here. It's going to go back with Brian Minogue. He's tucked up, racing John Philham in front. And Matt Shanahan in pit lane as well. Getting a few guys shuffling past him. And we might just check on this little battle here between Scotty Van Loon, McKnight and Alan Dawson. Alan, of course, our Super 2 champion from last season, stepping up in the pros this season. Got a bit of a lock up from McKnight as it opened the door up for the Rattler. These boys here been in a cracking battle for most of the evening together. And he's going to jump on our mate Coleman, go on the big dive on Stone Street, gets the job done. This is a battle just a little bit further back from the one we were just watching. Van Loon doing really well, a lot of pressure, a long way to go still for that group. It's going to check on Chris Pellett. He has Shanahan behind him and Rusty Gander in a little bit of a battle with Reg James here, a little bit further down the back of the pack. So Rusty stepping up the split 2 vets next season on Thursday night. So you see how he goes there. Definitely been on the improve here at East Coast, so it'd be good to see how he goes. Definitely on a bit of a fight here with James. Steve Tonkin. He has Will Buchanan keeping the pressure on him. Will blinking a little bit there. Hopefully not any dramas coming with his internet. And it's going to go back up the front. Check on Hobo. He's got that gap out to 2 seconds at the moment. Probably looking to push it a little bit more considering he was about 4 seconds under time in that fill. Let's have a bit of a look at the pit strategy. So you can see I've lost all that information when I did that reset. Get rid of that graphic. So there's only 2 laps difference in their pit times, but 5 seconds more fuel taken by Gamble. Or sorry, 4 seconds more fuel. So Hobson really... Oh, Gamble off in the background there. That was a bit loose by Gamble. Manages to hang on to it, but loses a little bit of time. Hobson can push that out to about 4 seconds. It's going to be game on when we go through this next round of stops. Definitely a few battles still going on. Check on Flasblom. He's putting a lot of pressure on young Ty Delaney at the moment. Youngest driver in the field. It's now past half race distance. Here these boys be starting to think about looking after the car for that second stop. So definitely a tough one early on in the season. It's going to go back to that Coleman battle. He is now putting a lot of pressure on Dawson. Pulls out to get the pass done. Side by side. Heading up the hill. This next corner's not one you want to be side by side, and he's got it done. So Coleman now sets his sights on Van Loon. Some good little battles still going on, particularly with this group just here. A little twitch there from the Mustang of Scott Van Loon. Thought it might have opened the door. And Hobson's had an off, I believe. Still in front, lost a little bit of time there. Only two little offs, but has allowed that gap to close back up again. He's hanging on here. Only 7/10. Only takes a slight mistake for these boys. Open the door up. See how smooth Gamble is. Bit of traffic in front of the boys now as well. Not a good spot to get on the back of some lapped cars into the Cork Screw. James on the brakes out of the way. So definitely some other battles. Jump back on Van Loon. He's side by side. Oh, just had a look, sorry. Coleman and Van Loon going toe to toe with a few passes. Such a difficult track to look after your tyres here. Van Loon goes a bit wide, ducks into the pit lane. And lap traffic getting in the way a little bit here for Hobson. Allowed Gamble to close that gap up a little bit as we head into the Cork Screw. And Gander's gone off the track there somewhere. There he is. Go there through there. Hobson only 6/10 up the road here from Gamble and back in P2. Someone in the wall there. I think that might be Stone Street. Not sure what's happened to Troy. Unfortunately, I haven't got a replay available, but he is definitely stuck there on track. Going to get himself going again, but he is down a few spots. And just check back up on our friend McKnight. He has his teammate Dave Coleman tucked up behind him. And Hobson had a little off as well again, but I think everything is all right there. Oh, a little bit loose from Hobson. Opens the door up for Gamble, side by side up the hill. Gamble's going to get it done. Hobson is loose. I think he might have overheated his tyres. Hey, Gamble. Now leads the way. Of course, Gamble was 5 seconds longer in the last stop, so I'd probably suggest he'll have less fuel to take in this next stop, which I think we'll see in the next 5-6 laps. As Hobson ducks straight into the pits to get those new set of boots I think that he needs. So Dave Coleman, jump on with him, tucked up behind McKnight. We've got Zachary Vlasbom in a good little battle here with Ty Delaney. Driver of the night so far has been Dave Coleman though, who's up 11 spots. But Dave, you'd be pretty chuffed for this. Just keeping an eye on where Hobson comes back out into the pack. As Brian Minogue gets overtaken by Chris Pellett. Pellett goes wide up onto the sand. Scotty Van Loon is in a battle here with Rusty Gander. Right, just going to keep an eye on Gamble here. See what he does. Does he react to... Yes, he does. So he, of course, got a pit cover off Hobbo. Of course, that 5-second stop. Expect him to be a few seconds up the road. Let's jump back on this McKnight. Coleman's got past him now. But the Viz not too far behind McKnight. So Gamble, O'Reilly's gone in, Hobson, and he's going to cross the line. Hobbo on his way out. Oh, not Hobbo, Gamble on his way out. And Hobbo just that little bit further back in fifth. So Hobson's going to be about 3 seconds behind. Has to make the most of these warm tyres now, get himself back on the equal terms with Gamble. So a bit of work to be done by Hobbo. Let's see whether he's got what it takes to get himself back into it. O'Reilly is only 4 seconds back as well. So let's see if he can close that gap. As this is all going to be the run to the home as we're on lap 37 for 56. And our race leader, Damien Johnstone, in the pit lane at the moment. Timmy Mulford's going to follow suit. Greg Sharp stays out. May have a new race leader. As Greg Sharp crosses the line into P1. Sharpie doing quite well here. Pretty happy with his efforts. Getting a P1 against his name for a lap at least. As Mulford, McKnight and Dawson all enter into the pit lane. And Dawson in pit lane, going to jump on with Damien Johnstone, who is tucked right up behind the back of Zachary Blascombe. And just going to jump on with Reg James real quick. Something's happened with Reg. He's got himself going again. Like a little bit of a dent on inside there. A bit of a scuff. Not sure what's happened to Reg. But he's got himself going again. And Sharp is in pit lane. Just checking on the Viz. Anthony Visma is in P7 and not too far behind Coleman, who I believe still has to pit, and so does Ty Delaney and Will Buchanan out of the guys in the top 10 there. It's continuing on, lap 39 of 56. And Gamble is having that gap close. Hobson has got it down under 3 seconds now. We do know how good Hobson can be. Hobson, of course, former champion of the East Coast Series. He would have the bit between his teeth at the moment. See Gamble up the road. Oh, Hobbo! Hobbo loses it coming out of the corkscrew. He's parked up there. That's going to cost him. That will cost him dearly. And O'Reilly sneaks through for P2. I'd say a corkscrew, 18 metre drop down. Is quite tricky to get right for these guys. You're unsighted as you come through the second part of the corner. And very easy to get the car unbalanced. As we sit on here board here with Visma. A bit of lap traffic, but he's got Coleman in front of him. Coleman, of course, still to pit, so is Ty Delaney. The lock up there from Visma. Great racing from these two as Visma works his way through on Coleman. As going to go back to Timmy Mulford, battle for some of our Super 2 boys. Mulford and Sharp here. Delaney finally peels off, moving these boys up the board a spot. And Dave Coleman now the last of our guys to have their final pit stop. It's Visma. Jump a little bit further up the road with him. He still has a little bit of work to do. He's going for a second now, Coleman, so he's pulled away a little bit. Alfred's probably our closest battle on track with Sharp.
Cheers, Russell.
Mulford doing really well here, keeping the pressure on Greg. As Coleman gets that pit stop out of the way. This time through, we start to see where everybody sits as the last of our stoppers go in. Great onboard work here from Jimmy Mulford. And Greg Sharp in front, doing really well. Hold him off. Gonna go back, have a look where Coleman came out after finally pitting. He's tucked up behind Stefan Lawrence. Matt Shanahan in the pits now as well. Of course, Coleman will have much fresher tyres coming in with that later stop. Some good gracing. Still not too many battle packs left on track. We might save this one for a minute longer. See what Coleman on these fresher tyres can get a move done here or not. And jump back up here, bit of lap traffic closing the door again for Sharp and Mulford. That gap now right down. Greg pulling away from Mulford again. So lap traffic, obviously the reason there. Jumping back on with Lawrence. There's side-by-side action there with Coleman. Coleman's through that gap now.
Come on, Coleman, I'll throw you a little guy.
And it's going to go back in a little battle. Reg James tucked up behind Rusty Gander.
I don't think I did anything wrong, but I'll give it back to you if you think I did.
Silence that one up. And just check on that Sharp battle for a minute. That gap is clearly there. So state of play, lap 46 of 56 is our race leader with 10 laps to go. Scott Gamble is 8.2 seconds ahead of Jacob O'Reilly from Vermeulen Motorsports. Jacob in P2, great drive for Jacob. He'd be pretty chuffed with that one. And then in P3, Hobson making that mistake coming out of the Cork Screw. Very costly for him, but continues on the journey. Damien Johnstone in P4. Very quiet night for Damien, but doing really well. He'll be quite happy with that. Plenty of points there. Anthony Visma in P5. Plenty of space around him as well. And then we go back to P6 where we've got Greg Sharp. P7, Tim Mulford. These two have been battling it out. Pretty close quarters for most of the race. So 10 to go. We see how these two lift the ante. And these two have got themselves 18 seconds up the road from Zach Flashcomb. And of course, behind that's Ty Delaney, the minnow from Fishy Motorsports. Young Ty, youngest racer in the series. And he is having a blinder tonight, getting himself in the top 10. He'll be happy with that. The man leading our Super 2 series at the moment, Jamie McKnight. He is doing really well at the moment as well. He's in the top 10, just in front of his teammate Dave Coleman. And Dave sitting in 11th is up 10 spots. And then Stefan Lawrence is down 5 spots, but he is still circulating in 12th, ahead of Alan Dawson, Steve Tonkin, Scotty Van Loon, Buchanan, Shanahan, Minogue, Pellet, Billingham, Gander, James, Stone Street with the spin earlier, did a bit of damage, and Ant Cuthbertson didn't take the grid. That is the state of play with 10 to go. So, boys are fairly well spread, except for this sharp battle. Yeah, I probably have to say that, Sean. The winning streak of James Scott will be broken this evening. But Sharp can't break in Melford from behind. This has been a great little battle from these two lads. Gamble O'Reilly gap is closed. Hobson is closing the gap pretty quick on O'Reilly though. That now is down to 1.2 seconds in closing. Great little comeback drive from O'Reilly here. Hobson looking to get the job done here. I don't think it'll be through Andretti this time. A bit of wheel spin from Hobson. Lap traffic up front here as well, that could come into play. Hobson doing a mega drive. Oh! Shanahan, big spin there in front of these two. Tell you now, O'Reilly's eyes would have opened up big with that one. Man gets himself back going, no? One of the good things about Laguna Seca, plenty of sand around the track. A bit loose there from O'Reilly. Does this open the door up? Good exit out of here for Hobson. A little bit quicker again. Not a great spot to try and get the job done going into the corkscrew, of course. Hobson looking a lot more composed. Come on, Hobo here. He's definitely making him work for it. So definitely a lot of pressure, and looking with only a couple of laps to go, where we go from here will be the question. Will Hobson get the job done? So might just have a look at a couple of the other battle packs. Sharp still under pressure. He's lost that spot to Mulford just in that brief second then. And of course, a couple of other little battles. Got that O'Reilly one up front as well. Van Loon also got himself past Buchanan as well. Keep an eye on this. Hobson's got to make a move here. So definitely going well here. So we'll go back to check that Greg Sharp battle. Sharp definitely has a bit of work to do still. Hobson. What's going on there? My mouse playing up. Hobson is gone. We've lost Hobson. I'm not sure. I'd say there's been some sort of failure at his end with the internet. That will be very disappointing for Brenton. He was on for a podium there. He was pushing for that P2 spot and a bag full of points. So, of course, Scott Campbell on the penultimate lap. Jacob O'Reilly with plenty of breathing space. Damien Johnstone comes up onto the podium. So Hobbo would be quite upset with that one. But Damien Johnston is the big winner out of that, moving up into position. And Hobbo, yeah, definitely gone. There's up now, putting the pressure back on Tim. And Mulford now, the one being chased after chasing for so long, hasn't got clear. As Gamble takes the checkered flag. Sorry, not checkered flag, the white flag start his last lap. Of course, Scotty in with us a couple of weeks ago as our guest commentator at the end of last season. Here he is now, coming back in to talk to us as a race winner. Pretty chuffed with that one. Of course, been nearly 100 minutes these boys have been racing. And Scott, representing 9.5 Sim Sports, comes down through the rainy curve for the final time. A little bit of luck, a little bit of disappointment for Hobson, of course, going out of the race there with some technical difficulties. But our race winner is Scott Gamble. The man in P2 will be Jacob O'Reilly, and the man in P3 rolling himself around at the moment is going to be Damien Johnstone. Russell power slide, then followed by the Viz, Anthony Visma. Bring home P4. P5 will be Tim Mulford. He will hang on. So Tim, you'd be pretty happy with that. That was a pretty epic battle between those two lads. Zach Glassbaum, he is coming down the hill here. Gonna hold off Ty Delaney. Young Ty getting himself into 4th spot. Sorry, 7th spot, 8th spot. Rick Knight, People's Champion. He's going to come home in 9th. He'd be happy with that drive. Top 10 for him. Coleman in 10th. Stephen Lawrence going to bring it home in 11th. And then it was Dawson and Tonkin and Van Loon. So that is our finishing order for this evening. Been a very tough race and a long race for a few of these guys. And we'll start off having a bit of a chat, of course, to the man that won the race, Scotty Gamble. Well done, Scott.
Yeah, how you going, John? Bit of a surprise, that one, mate. But, yeah, very happy about that, mate.
Yeah, it was a bit interesting. A couple of mistakes there from yourself. Only minor, of course. Allowed Hobbo to get a little bit away. And then Hobbo made that big one coming out of the Cork Screw, put himself into the wall there, which bugged him up again. And then at the end there, he's dropped out after he got himself on the back of Jacob O'Reilly. So, not sure.
Yeah, I felt a bit sorry for him when I seen him drop out. He was pushing hard to get back to Jacob, and he done an awesome job to get there. It was actually, I really enjoyed being behind him and driving behind him because he was teaching me and showing me, and like he's super fast, especially from like turn 6 onwards. That back half of the track, oh my god, he was fast.
Yeah, he looked quite mega this evening in that section. So, yeah, I think he'll be a bit disappointed. So I'm not 100% certain what the go was there with him. So hopefully, let's just get up and slow that down. Yeah, he was definitely catching. He was doing really well. He's putting a lot of pressure on you, Jacob, and
Yeah.
just disappeared.
Yeah, I don't know whether I'm relieved or disappointed about that.
It was shaping up
It was
to be
rapid, man.
shaping up to be an epic battle.
Yeah, and he was taking it easy as well, waiting for those last those 3 or 4 laps. We could really go at it. So it was really disappointing that he disconnected. He definitely deserved to be up there. He was unbelievable.
And of course, PT for yourself, you've got to be pretty happy. I mean, you've been improving week by week, not just here at East Coast, across the board with Scops and Pro Series. It's been a bit of a couple of months of hard work for yourself.
Yeah, for sure. It's and funny. It can be hard to still keep pushing after something like the Lodgy qualifier. Clearly, Scotty here is having no trouble at all there. He's absolutely rapid today, untouchable. Had no idea. I saw he was in the practice and quality session, something like 6/10 something. I'm like, where is that time? I have no idea. But yeah, really, really fun race. Really enjoyed it. I don't like Laguna Seca very much, but I really enjoyed this race. So
yeah. It's interesting to take away the James Scott factor.
Ban him.
The lobs factor. It sort of really opens the field up a lot, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
And yourself, Damien, like Hobbo dropping out, you probably feel like I fell in your lap, but on the podium again, mate.
Yeah, thanks, Hobbo. Unlucky for him. Good job for the boys up front. Just wasn't feeling it tonight, so. But hey, we're on the podium, so.
Yeah, plenty of points to be had. Anyone you want to give a shout out to, Damien?
Just the lads at Synergy. Kept building and progressing, so you guys also, and the podium, so well done, lads.
Yeah, and Jacob, anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, of course, all the boys over at Familiar Motorsports, especially Zach Velasblom. He's finally got some hardware issues sorted, and he's coming along really, really quickly. So it's really exciting to see how he's traveling there as well. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah,
Zach up 4 spots tonight. He drove really well. Think of some good battles there for a fair while as well. So, and of course, you, Scotty, anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Look, shout out to Jacob and Damien. They drove a good race. Shame for Hobbo. He was incredibly fast, and it was really good just to run with guys like that, which is a bit of a treat for me. But over at 95 Sim Sport, they've been really welcoming, John, since I've moved from WK&P to them, and yeah, they've really helped me along. And yeah, it's good fun. I enjoyed it. It's nice not to get flogged all the time when the big guys turn up, but yeah, it was still good fun.
Too easy. And of course, next week, boys, we're off to Le Mans, which will be an interesting track. I won't get to race it on the Thursday because I'll be away. Any thoughts on Le Mans?
Draft track?
Yeah, nah, definitely not.
I
think everyone else.
It'll be fun.
Everyone else should run 22 wing, boys.
Yeah, full wing.
Full wing.
Yeah, full wing.
No worries. Well, anyway, on that note, apologies everybody out there. My replay or event login SDK didn't work this evening, so that didn't help the cause a lot. But we got there in the end. Mark will be back next week, so we're back to 2 on deck, so you don't have to listen to me for 2 hours. And we will see everybody again next week. Thanks for watching.
Beautiful. Take it easy.
Thanks, John. Thanks for doing the broadcast too. Cheers.
There's no arguing that people love their cars.
We weren't arguing.
They talk about their cars, sing about their cars. Some people even look like their car. Whether it's an old car, new old car, fast car, family car, electric car, race car, two-wheel car, no-wheel car, or a car you know's parked around here somewhere. People who love their cars love to tinker with them. Some people tinker big, some people tinker small. Some people tinker some degree between those two variables,
Whose voice is that?
and that's where Supercheap Auto comes in. We've been helping people tinker for 50 years. For people like Bill, Lucy, Kevin, other Kevin.
Oi, get off my car!
Didn't catch this guy's name.
It's Kevin.
Not Patrick. He doesn't shop with us. Whoever you are, whatever you drive, we'll help you make it super. Because super is our middle name. Well, technically it's our first.